corruption, because it's like everything we are doing now is just corruption, 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 and everything is left in the background. We can no longer continue.
If that's like a bone that is stuck in your throat, won't you need to get it out before you can swallow properly?
6 months, you don't set a time lag to fight corruption. Just like don't set a time lag to fight the war of Boko Haram. You have to do it systematically. You take one step after the other. By the time you cleanse the police very well, you get some element of results. By the time you cleanse the customs very well, you get an element of result. By the time the political class is cleansed, and not people who have cases are cleared to run for governorship, to be ministers, to be commissioners, and so on, we may not get the desired result. And that's where I disagree with the methodology and the approach the present administration is using. Apart from not being fair across board, you find out that due process is not followed in some instances.
As long as you have not given us...
And that's why we still have to find a different method, a different approach that is systematic, that will not ground our economy, so that we can move forward.
I am clearly at home with the method that is being used presently by the government to fight corruption. And as I said earlier, the first they have done is to prevent it. And they have done it with TSA. They have done it with BVN. A lot of people were using, money account in the banks, to dump money.
But
with all manner of... I'm coming, sir.
TSA and BVN came from the previous administration.
The man now use it and solidify the system. Remember that the BVN of a thing, they will keep on postponing the date and all that. But this government came and said there's a deadline. And now if you don't come and identify yourself, that money is completely lost to the bank. Now, the issue of TSA was also, started with the previous government, but was never implemented. This government now came in and said, let's operate it. And today we know what has happened, how much has come into the system. But I tell you this, it's important we begin to sing this song. My captain is not too comfortable with this issue of, fighting corruption and paying so much attention to it. Sir, if there is unemployment today in the system, it is as a result of corruption. In Nigeria, if there are people are dying on the... I've said it before, even issue of our clinics, our schools. I attended a university where I used to, see white people in my university, University of Nigeria and Soka, in the 80s. Go to any university in Nigeria where we see any white person. Nobody comes to your university anymore. But we are now exporting our kids to go to America and all that. So it got to a stage that our educational system collapsed as a result of corruption. Our health system collapsed. Ordinary headaches, all the big men will rush to England to go and take a treatment.
And you say the process is going on now, ending all of that.
The man says, look, we must sing this song every day in order to end it, so that we can now put a structure in. You know what it is, sir? As I said earlier, first of all, is a preventive measure by making sure now that money will now be made available to develop key infrastructure, sir. If you don't develop key infrastructure, you cannot run your economy. And so when you are talking about 8 trillion next year, where do you think that confidence comes from? It's because you have already closed all the leakages, all the loopholes, in order to have money to work for. Let's begin to enjoy this country. It's a beautiful country, a good nation, but we have been denied those basic things of life. Imagine a country as big as Nigeria operating only 4 trillion budget. How much does Angola, or an ordinary country, operate in their budget? What of South Africa? These countries, we're bigger than them, but their own annual budget is bigger than, because of corruption we cannot. But this man says all the generating government agencies that generate money must now bring the money into the common this impulse, and let us use this money to develop key infrastructure. Okay. Is there anything wrong with that?
All right, Mr. Shelle, before you give your closing statement, and Ubani, let me just read these tweets to you. The captain should be reminded of the topic. He is not catching air. He's just scratching air. That's what he said. Joseph Icha. Adiola Adele says, please tell Ubani that seeing the truth and lying is corruption. Bakre said, Mr. Ubani is my man. He is articulate and eloquent. David says, returning money without the figures and names is also a corrupt practice. Governance is transparency. Ismail Omotaya says, Mr. Ubani is a foreigner. Captain Shelle is in Nigeria. Nigeria is in a mess. Echo says, corruption is a symptom and not the root. Now, not the root cause. Why are we chasing shadows. Your closing statements, gentlemen.
Well, I would just pray that we are able to restructure Nigeria. I wish we could tackle corruption by looking into the civil service critically and identifying the right people who will advise the government properly. When we are choosing ministers, let's choose the right people. The judiciary, I don't know why we have problems. Somebody is like behind the compromising the judiciary, and that person, most of us know. I wish it could change, and I hope that person will not continue to destroy the system which we want to build and ensure that corruption doesn't consume Nigeria.
All right, thank you.
I call on patriotic Nigerians to rise up for us to really get this country back once again. It's a beautiful country, a country that has so much money, so much resources, both human and natural. But mismanagement of those resources have actually kept us where we are today. So let us, once again, let's awake the consciousness of Nigeria. Let us get this country back. If anyone is accused of corruption, please let him, even if it's your mother, let him be given up and be tried and be prosecuted and sentenced. And let us have this money free so that our children will begin to enjoy good education. I can go to hospital and my sickness will be diagnosed properly. I can have light 24 hours a day. I can drive on a road where there is good road. There are many things to enjoy. Have clean water. Now, if we remove corruption from the system, I tell you that this country is better than America, it's better than UK, it's better than most developed economies in the entire world.
Thank you very much. Mr. Onyekachi Ubani, legal practitioner, thank you for coming.
I appreciate it.
Captain Tunji Shele, public affairs analyst, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
And just before we go, this one from Isaac Hanem rounds it all up. He says, any fight against corruption that isn't institutionalized is like a house built on sandy soil. In other words, it boils down to you and I to do something about what we say is corruption. Well, thank you so much for listening as we are part of your evening. Have yourself a good night.